So I am by no means a fish breeder. And if you know anything about me, if my fish have babies, they're pretty much gonna die anyway because I don't know how to take care of them and I don't want to put the energy and effort into learning how to take care of them. But I have these weird fish bonds that are forming in my tanks. Some of them are kind of normal, but the behavior or the situations I put them in are strange. A couple of them are really wacky. I'm going to talk about Vlad the Impaler and Justina, which they've had some really interesting behavior going on. The last one I'm going to tell you about is a new, really strange connection between two fish that have no business being together. But I'm going to start off with another weird connection that you already probably know about, and that's Kevin and Sylvia.
It's a good thing these two haven't been able to completely nail down how to exactly have babies yet. They're totally into each other, but sometimes that just isn't enough. You ever know like a human couple with kids and you look at them and wonder how on earth those kids are even still alive? Not because the kids are horrible, and they are, but because the parents are. Let them play out in the middle of the street, stay out all night, and the beer just isn't just for mom and dad, but the entire family. That's Kevin and Sylvia to a T, except it would also be a miracle if they didn't eat their babies as well. But maybe, again, you might know people like that too. I'm not judging here. But there's a certain threshold where kids should no longer be in the equation. And it appears God may have made the decision for them, because they've been trying for like 5 or 6 months, and there's no eggs, no fry, no nothing. I've called these two cichlid trash before, and oh my gosh, that's exactly what they are. Kevin is a carpintus. I used to call him an electric blue cichlid, but someone scolded me in the comments for calling him that. Apparently there's no such thing as an electric blue Texas cichlid. It's just a term people came up with to make them popular like the electric blue acara, I guess. And the people at Imperial Tropicals apparently bought into it. So he's a carpintus and Sylvia's a Salvini. They've acquired this left side of San Quentin as their nest, but oddly enough, they've recently opened the doors to the public. Yeah, really weird because Kevin's a real dick to the other inmates, but since I've added a bunch of new guys to the yard, he's allowing them to hang out after school and whatnot. I see some blue acaras over in this neck of the woods, and even Lunchbox, the female black nasty, likes to hang out and watch TV now and then. Throw down a few with Kevin and Sylvia. Like I said, they give beer to anyone, doesn't matter if you're a kid or not. Lunchbox is like the child they never had. And she's a black nasty, so her worldview is tainted just enough so Ma and Pa can see a lot of potential in her. Someday she's gonna make him proud. Beat up a few other kids now and then, drop out of school, join the cartel. Kevin's getting all warm just hearing me say those words. You know what turned Sylvia on? Seeing her man in a fight with another inmate so she can join in and support him. She loves that. There's never an actual fight in here, but there doesn't have to be. She can just imagine there is one. And that's enough. Just like she imagines going back to the salt mine with Kevin on that left side of the yard to make some really cichlid trashy babies together. Speaking of the salt mine, Kevin recently lost his job there. He was like, finally, now I can just pursue my true passion, watching football and drinking beer. But Sylvia has certain expectations. She comes from a rich family. She's fallen quite a ways from her roots, but she still has those expectations. So she kicked his ass and then sent him back to beg for his job back. But instead of begging, he just made his boss an offer he couldn't refuse. You've seen The Godfather. And unfortunately for Kevin, he's working again. But at least there are some really trashy guys in the salt mine that he can hang out with instead of working too hard. So working in the salt mine has its good points. He doesn't have a choice anyway because of Sylvia, so might as well enjoy it. Plus, she's been packing him 2 beers instead of just 1 in his lunch these days. And he appreciates when she does sweet things like that for him.
Subscribe or someone dies. Ding ding.
Of all the couples that I have in my tanks, this is the oldest bond, and it's probably the most normal bond. But unfortunately, I've put him into kind of a weird situation. See, you should always have probably 5 or more of these guys together in a tank if you're going to have more than one. But unfortunately, I only have 3, and that causes some unusual tension among these fish.
Electric blue acaras love having sex. That's pretty much all they want to do. Stare at each other and swoon. Back when these two were in Poenari Castle, the 180, they had a lot of kids. They were amazing parents, but they wound up all getting eaten by the savages living with them. You can only do so much before everyone eats your kids these days. Compared to Kevin and Sylvia, these two are overwhelmingly normal. It's almost painful to watch. Wait till you see these two couples coming up though, especially Buck and his new lady friend. There's nothing normal about that relationship, oh my gosh, but it's so cute. Anyway, the Acaras are normal, but I've put them in an abnormal position. See, there are 3 of them, and that makes things a little awkward, especially for the odd man out, because he's never getting with her, but her husband never really knows for sure, so he's got to keep an eye on the other guy to make sure there's no funny business going on. San Quentin is pretty busy these days, and there's really no great place to lay down a bunch of eggs, so I don't know if they will ever have more kids. Maybe the 10,000 they've already had is enough for them, I don't know. I should probably get maybe 3 or 4 more of these fish though, just to make things a little less weird for the third wheel guy. You might not know this, but 3 is usually a bad number of fish to keep in a single species. It's usually like 1 or then 5 or more, but anything in between can cause issues. And I'm all about not having issues if I can help it, so yeah, I think I will get some more of them. They're really pretty too, so it's not like it's going to be a chore or pulling teeth to get some more. Plus you can find them just about anywhere because, they're always having babies. EBAs are pretty high-class fish, really bougie, but if conditions are just right, one can fall down a rung or 2, or 20. That's where Kevin and Sylvia hang out. Way, way down. Lots of rungs between the Acara and these 2.
If you recall, a while back, I made a video about Vlad the Impaler and his wife Justina, my 2 black nasties, one of the meanest cichlids that you can get. And I was moving them over to my 180-gallon tank, which was recently emptied of fish because I put them into San Quentin over here. Well, I noticed some tail fin damage on Justina, and that was caused from Vladimir because he was apparently attacking her and being a dick when I wasn't looking. They'd already annihilated a couple of the other inmates that were in there with them, and I knew it was going badly. So I moved her over and I just left him for a while in hopes that she would make this new Poenari castle, which is what I call the 180. I was hoping that she'd make it her own, and that when I moved him over, then she would have this added confidence of a lady of power, and he would be afraid of her, and everything would work out fine. So I eventually, when her tail got better, I moved him over, and things got a little tricky at that point when I put them together again. Let me show you what I'm talking about.
If you think Kevin and Sylvia are cichlid trash, then these 2 take it to a whole nother level. Nandopsis haitiensis is their official name, but I just call them the nasties. They used to be in the 72-gallon tank about a month ago, but I wanted to move them to Poenari Castle, which will be a great size tank for them when they get big and horrifyingly mean. But Vlad the Impaler thought it'd be a good idea to kick Justina's ass just a little bit before I moved him over. Anyway, you already know all that, but I was hoping that moving her over a week or so ahead of him would give her an upper edge in Mortal Kombat, even though she's smaller than he is. A lot smaller. Sometimes if you put a fish in a tank by themselves, they'll start to gain a certain confidence about them, and that can help even things out a bit if you move another guy over later. And it seemed like that was the case at first, but then I did something that screwed it all up. I only have 1 filter agitating the surface in this tank since my old wave maker stopped working a while back. So I wanted to add another working wave maker, and last week I did. And oh my lord, Vlad the Impaler went completely apeshit on poor Justina, and I thought he was going to kill her if I didn't separate him. I wasn't sure if it was the wave maker doing all this, so I unplugged it anyway, and shortly afterwards, he settled down. So I guess he's like the African cichlids, and turbulent water makes him crazier than their standard normal level of crazy. Well, the weirdness wasn't over yet. So after about another week, Justina apparently decided that without that wave maker making waves, she could probably kick Vlad the Impaler's ass pretty good if she wanted to. And let me take a step back real quick. After the wave maker incident, I did notice a slight rip in Justina's caudal fin, where he'd gotten her a time or 2. Well, it healed up, but now guess who has a little rip in his caudal fin? Yeah, Vlad the Impaler. And she is not even a little bit afraid of him these days. But he's afraid of her. Oh, big time. The dynamics in this castle are insane. And look how deeply black little Justina is now. The blacker the black nasty female gets, the more she's feeling it. And she's in a zone. Oh yeah, and I sterilized these 2 pipes and moved them over from Alcatraz so she'd have a safe place to go hide from Vlad back when he was kicking her ass. But now she doesn't need to hide. Instead, they've become her evil lair where she can go and charge up a bit to kick some more ass if she likes. And she likes. What that means is I gotta be watching these two psychos even more than ever now, because you just never know. She could really go at him like Mike Tyson style and rip a body part off or two, or everything could just change again and he could go after her. Too many question marks with these guys, but I need to be ready to separate them if I have to. Put Justina in a battered women's shelter for a week or so, or put him in a battered men's shelter. Oh, Kevin and Sylvia, you really aren't that trashy after all, are you?
So sometimes when you have cichlids, mating behavior can look a whole lot like your fish are just being aggressive with each other. And that's what I thought was happening for a long time. And if you've seen my videos, you've probably heard me mention it before, that one of these fish was just being aggressive towards another one. But last week I noticed that I think it's a little bit more than that. It involves one of my favorite fish, Buck, the true parrot, who's an absolute amazing tank boss right now. I think that eventually Percy the Oscar is going to take over the spot, but for now he's holding the reins at #1. But this other little fish seems to have a real thing for him, and it's hilarious to watch them together because she's really going out, like peacocking around him all the time, and it's like he doesn't even notice that she's there.
I've been making videos with Buck in him and mentioning occasionally how this little fish was puffing up around him and trying to make big ol' Buck realize that he wasn't so tough after all, and she should actually be the tank boss. And at least I thought that's what was going on in her cute little head. Her name is Katie, and she's a Nicaraguan cichlid. They can be a little on the aggressive side, so this wouldn't be too far a stretch to imagine. Buck never seemed to notice that she even existed, though. She'd be darting around him, and he's just slowly carrying on like he was a shark and she was a remora. But then I recently started to notice something odd. Just about every time I'd see Buck, little Katie wouldn't be too far behind. If he moves forward, she moves forward. He takes a left, she takes a left. There's a lot of that going on in San Quentin these days with these two. He still doesn't really seem to really notice her that much, but I think he's just a guy, you know? He's not going to get all sappy and romantic, especially when he's the tank boss and he's got important things to do, like keeping the cichlid trash over on the left side so they don't mix with the normal people. He's a powerful man with responsibilities. With a girlfriend. Yeah, she can be my girlfriend if she wants, he thinks. Why not? Well, Katie's into this relationship a lot more than why not. She's feeling it, and why wouldn't she with such a strong, sexy man like Buck is? And he's the toughest inmate in the yard, and that is hot. You can see her digging some pits for their babies as she's thinking about this. She wants to have lots of kids. Katie's always dreamed of having a huge family with a big, strong man like Buck. She can make the kids lunches, take them to school, and then pick them up after. Nurture them. Give them unconditional love. Katie loves thinking about these things. And she knows that they'll love their mom because Katie also knows that she's beautiful, and kids love it when their moms are beautiful. She doesn't need a lick of makeup to sweeten things up. She's sweet just the way she is, and she knows it. And she's over here on the right side of San Quentin, which is like so far away from the ghetto where those trashy cichlids live. A great place to raise a family, she's thinking. If Kevin and Sylvia even so much as look at my adorable little babies, I know I have a man who will take care of them Godfather style, because my Buck is the godfather of this yard, and he's mine, all mine. Buck doesn't really know much about any of this family stuff, but he's pretty easygoing, so whatever.
All right, fish nerds, that's going to be it for now, but I swear this oath to you, I will make another video next week. But until then, watch this. I'll catch you next time. That's going to be a wrap.